I'm afraid I'm flying blind tonight. My playback doesn't seem to be working, so I don't know if I'm actually broadcasting or not. And I'm not actually currently able to see chat messages, so this is going to have to be just kind of disconnected. So, anyways, so tonight I was going to talk about terse but informative interfaces. When we write a skill or an audio app, we kind of want to be as brief as possible. This is because it gets very tedious listening to long prompts in an audio app, and you're just like, oh, it's like, when is it going to finish? I want to say what I want to say, and then when it does do that, you've kind of, forgotten what it started to say. So it's, and we've all experienced this on phone or teleprompt things. Or like, press 1 for this, press 2 for this, press 9 for it, and it's like, what was 1 again? It's so you kind of want to keep it short. The trouble is, you have information to convey that kind of runs against that. How do you give all of that information and yet not, bore your person to tears? So I kind of hit that problem recently. I'm working on a concept skill that I will show tonight, which is called 6 Swords. I have a series of books called The 6 Books of Magic. I put a link in the description or whatever. They're up there on Amazon. If you just search for Jaquinta, you will find them all. My pen name of Jolie Jaquinta, which my agent said would sell better. But anyhow, yes, lovely fantasy books anyway. So I thought it's like, well, let's kind of try to do a tie-in to that. But, magic is hard, so fighting is easy. So 6 swords, yay. But the basic idea is it's, classic role-playing, go-around, attack things. And this gets into sort of a lot of people have done a bunch of skills and stuff like that. If you want to actually do something interesting and meaty, it's great to have content that you can use. But the downside is if you don't own the IP, you can't use it. I ran into this problem a lot. One of my favorite role-playing games is Traveller. I've spent years and years and years, and if you search, the internet is littered with various programming projects I've done in support of Traveller, etc., etc. I put a lot of work into some of them, which never actually went anywhere, and when one project failed, was difficult to bring it to something else, and certainly never able to do something commercial about it because I don't own the IP. The IP owned by Mark Miller. Great guy, owns stuff, but he's got this whoa. And he's happy to work with people, but he charges a $500 license. $500, kind of gives you, I haven't checked in recently, but back in the day it was $500 and you can pretty much do whatever you want. But, that's a bit of a hump to get over, if you want to, you have to make at least $500 before you make any money at all. And there's not a lot of money in the role-playing field. So, and when Alexa, there's, go look at the video on monetization or limited options, you really got to start small and scale up. That's kind of an insurmountable thing. So, Star Lanes, the big skill that I have out there, it's all my own IP because I own it all. Nobody can say no to me. I can do what I want. That's the advantage of that. You can do your one. The disadvantage is that no one knows what you're talking about. It's all new. You got to explain it all to them. You got to give them the plot. You got to give them the story, the background, everything like that. And that's been a hump for Star Lanes to get over, and that's one thing. So I did a little experiment. I said, well, let's take a step back. Let's try, first of all, a fantasy game, which is a little easier for people to understand because it's it's the past as opposed to the future. You don't have to, a sword is a sword. People know what swords are. Ray gun is a ray gun, and you have to kind of explain, etc., etc. So a little more familiar. And the second thing is that back in the day, the first popular fantasy role-playing game was, of course, Dungeons and Dragons. It's still there. It's on 5th edition now. 5th? Yes. 5th edition. 5th edition. I play it every Monday. Usually 5th edition. I can't remember which one it is. And it's been around for a long time. Now, back at one point, the TSR started it. TSR got bought by Wizards of the Coast, who later got bought by Hasbro. But anyways, part of that was that then, one of the problems is lots of people wanted to contribute it at the beginning, but then, TSR kind of well, we kind of want the money, you can't do this, and it was very ambiguous about what people could and could not do. They obviously wanted extra people to produce more material to support the game, but they also wanted to reserve their right to make money on it, so that never really got settled, but when Wizards of the Coast bought TSR, they produced a document that was like, okay, this is everything we consider to be our intellectual property, and it's just ours. Here's what we don't consider to be our intellectual property, and people can do things with. So things like goblins, sphinxes, sort of things you find in mythology that you find in other works, are things that they said, we are not considering ourselves as exclusive copyright on this. Other things like beholders or mind flayers, are things they said, no, these are ours. We are unique things that we made up. You can't use them unless you have permission from us. And very clearly defined. Now, what one person did is they took the public domain stuff and said, oh, I'm going to take this, and essentially backwards engineered and recreated first edition Dungeons & Dragons, advanced Dungeons & Dragons. People who pedantic about it. And so they said, we've done this, and we're releasing this free, because there's nothing in this that is not in the free document. And we're going to treat, so it's like, look. Out here is essentially what's equivalent to the first edition Advanced Dungeons & Dragons role-playing game, but it's essentially royalty-free. So I'm like, wow. So, again, we're sort of doubling off into legal stuff here, but so the objective of this concept skill was to see, could we do something interesting in that field of role-playing game. Now, stack of stuff back here. Just an illustrative example. Crash bang. There goes the manga. Anyways, I have more upstairs. Anyhow. So this is something you've probably never heard of, because it was only around for not very long, and then it disappeared. The thing that I wanted to... Oh, this does go on and on. This is something called the Alternity... TSR? Yeah, TSR did this. This was one attempt at a sci-fi game by TSR. It didn't do very well. But there is a character sheet. You can see it's got lots of boxes, and, it actually goes on for 4 pages. Got that there. More stuff here. And, final page here, it's little things to check off and stuff like that. So what I'm trying to illustrate is that's a lot of information. So conceptually, you have a character, got a lot of information. You try to do that in an audio game, it's like, okay, I'm going to start reading your character sheet to come back in half an hour. And, it's crazy. So it's a classic example of trying. You want to have a rich experience, you want to have a lot there, but you want to do it in an audio interface. How do you do that? So I spent a week, white time box, and this is what I've got. I'll sort of walk you through some of that. It works on both the Google Home and the Alexa, because you want to do both. And Google Home is being a little cranky today. Let me just let's start with the Alexa. Demo tab. Open 6 Swords.
Welcome to 6 Swords, Joe Jacquinta. Around you is hills.
Look.
Around you is hills.
East.
You travel east. Around you is hills.
East.
You travel east. Around you is forest.
Who's in my party?
Your active companion is Giselle. She currently has 6 hit points out of 6. Your other companions are Shauna, Gino, and Shauna.
Inventory.
The group is carrying 40 arrow and 40 sling stone.
Okay, quit.
I don't know who Quick is. Your active companion is Giselle. Your other companions are Shauna, Gino, and Shauna.
Stop.
Welcome to 6 Swords, Joe Jacquinta. Around you is forest.
Alexa, quit. Alright, anyway, so, there is that. Terribly compelling. There's not a lot there. You can see you can do some basic stuff, but there's not a lot going on. Now, but, if there's a lot more there, really all that usable. Alright, we'll switch to the Google Home later. So, one thing you may have noticed there is, after some of the thing, I would give it an instruction, it would come back and it would tell me something. after some of the replies, there's this little beep beep noise. Okay, not just a crazy special effect, but kind of like, for those who are old enough to remember film strips, sitting in class, and my teacher would have this film strip, and then it would like blah 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 blah, and there'd be this kind of almost inaudible wah 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 wah, and the film strip would advance. So the teacher could go off, have a cup of, a cigarette or a shot of brandy or something, relieve themselves from the tedium of teaching recalcitrant teenagers, such as myself at the time. And we're just going like that. So, with that sort of as inspiration there, I introduced a earcon. Some people have been calling them as an audio icon. It's like, okay. And, again, this is a very rough skill. It hasn't got into the whole, there's like no intro or anything like that. No training and stuff like that. But the idea would be that, the skill would run, and the image would say, hey, you know that little noise? That little noise means you can say more and hear more if you want more information on that command. So, with that in mind, let's go back to some of that experience. Open 6 swords.
Welcome to 6 Swords, Joe Jaquinta. Around you is forest.
More.
You are in Duchy of Pink Prairie.
More.
Off to the north you can see forest. Off to the south you can see hills. Off to the east you can see forest. Off to the west you can see hills.
South.
You travel south. Around you is forest.
The hills to the south. More.
Bad item in specified short _ bow.
Look.
Around you is forest.
More.
You are in Duchy of Pink Prairie.
More.
Off to the north you can see hills. Off to the south you can see forest. Off to the east you can see forest. Off to the west you can see hills.
West.
You travel west. Around you is hills. From the tracks it looks like kobold have been here.
Exciting. Who?
Welcome to 6 Swords, Joe Jaquinta. Around you is hills.
That's I don't understand what you said. Who?
Your active companion is Giselle. She currently has 6 hit points out of 6. Your other companions are Shauna, Gino, and Shauna.
More.
Giselle is a first-level human with a strength of 13, a dexterity of 12, a constitution of 12, an intelligence of 11, a wisdom of 9, and a charisma of 7.
More.
Giselle has 0 experience points and 2 free weapon proficiencies. Giselle is proficient in dagger and short bow.
More.
Giselle is equipped with padded armor, dagger, and short bow.
More.
Giselle looks furtively around, worried about danger lurking.
More.
Giselle is gazing off into the distance, wondering what is over the horizon.
More.
Giselle wonders what the future holds.
Quit. Yeah, sure worked that way. Yeah, it just kind of goes on and on. Maybe got through an inch or 2 of those 4 pages of a character sheet or whatever. But, obviously needs some tweaking, because it's not necessarily all the pertinent information first and going off. And, at the end, it just gets, really abstract and just like, blah, 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 blah. And, if you ask, you keep saying more to what's around you, and eventually you start seeing shapes in the clouds. And, it gets really silly. But if you're going to say more 8 times, you deserve that. You deserve for the app to get silly with it. A great place for Easter eggs and stuff like that. But anyhow, so, let's see how it works out. I mean, let me know in your comments how compelling you think that is. If you think I should keep doing work on it, whether it's worth bringing out there. It's you see most of it there. You can do, you can switch where your active companion is. You can equip people. You can unequip people. Almost to the point where you can actually fight things. Right? You can't. They turn out and they go, sorry, and go away. But it's got a huge landscape. There's towns. There's cities. There's blah blah blah. That's all part of the thing there. But, again, getting back to the quasi-subject of the evening, that's a technique I'm experimenting with for trying to cram more into an interface. Just sort of like, let's keep it simple for people, so they can see. Just again, if you just, I know where I'm going. I just need to go west 4 times. Like the old little maps of Texas Adventure games. I need to go west 4 times and south 3 times, and west another 2 times, and I'll get to where I'm going. You can just plumb through it, and it just gives you the minimum stuff, etc., like that. But if you're like, okay, I'm a little lost. I'm in the forest. I know there's some hills around here, and I can ask it for stuff. Probably need to take out the sort of what country you're in, because I'm not sure anybody cares. I can put that further down the list. But again, this is something you can do, is you can, move things up and down and around the place based on user feedback, okay, and what people seem to be doing, and, people ranting in your forum or whatever else like that. Yeah. Other advantage of a system like that is you can continue to expand it without having to go through certification. Certification is one of the most obnoxiously painful parts of producing an audio app. I don't know why, particularly with Alexa, I don't know why they have these people who really just don't seem to understand the platform, certifying whether this is not even a good app for the platform, whether it meets their weird criteria or their very ambiguous criteria, blah, blah, blah. This is not the vidcast. Maybe I'll have a whole vidcast where I complain about certification. Wouldn't that be lovely? Certainly be stressful. But anyhow, certification's a pain. Nobody likes it. And, it's actually utility is questionable, but I'm starting to rant about it again. Let's stop ranting about it. The less you can do it, the better. The only thing certification, both for, Google Home or the Alexa, the only thing certification really locks down is the audio interface. It's like what Alexa can hear. So I described it to Zazazu's senior partner when we're looking at contracts. Okay, what we can change, what we have to certify, and what we can change, but we don't have to certify. What Alexa says, we can change without having to go through recertification. What our audio apps can hear, we do have to change. Now, if we wanted to add, something like, tell me about, because, I was like, I have all these companions. So Giselle is my primary companion, but Portia or something was one of the names of the other companions. I could say, I'd like to be able to say, tell me about Portia, so I can hear more about one of my companions who's not the active companion. That would be kind of cool. But that's changing what it hears. That requires a change to the audio model, and if you have the skill certified, it requires certification. Changing what it says does not. You can say anything. So one of the key things of establishing, in the user's mind, first of all, little beep beep is non-intrusive, and once you've trained the user that beep beep means you can say more and get additional information, you can put that in a command. And it's there. That's great. You got a bunch of different commands. You got a bunch of different apps. You can start standardizing this across apps, and actually we as a user community might consider coming up with standard earcons to put into all of our apps. So once to kick off that initiative, I would happily join and promote something like that. I think it's a great idea. It's what really actually made the difference on Windows 3.1, if you want to go back that far, is Microsoft produced a style guide, which is you put your menus in. Because back in the days, anybody remembers that far ago, people had all sorts of different menus, okay? Different things in the menus, and they went different. You wanted the help, it would be in different places, and you wanted to cut and copy and paste. Each app had it somewhere different. Microsoft came out and said, you shall have a file menu, you shall have an edit menu, you shall have a view menu, and you shall put cut, copy, paste under the edit menu, and stuff like that. And everybody's like, okay. It meant that once you learned one app, you kind of understood them all. You understood all the rest because it was familiar. We don't have that for any of these audio apps. And, of course, Microsoft threw that out the window and brought out that obnoxious ribbon bar thing, but try not to get started on that. We don't have that for our audio apps, and so every app has the job of having to train the user on how to use it. It's a little harder because audio interface is a little different, but, if we had, standard earcons for things, this is, my initial foray, so we'll say, now you can say more. That helps train our users, okay, and they become more familiar with it, more understanding of it, and they can move from one to the next, and without having to go through the learning process on each. So it's something that old school Windows can teach us about our approach that might help us with our newfangled apps. But the other thing about it is that just continuing to say more doesn't change what the app hears. It's not, we just have to have more in our audio model, and we can work that with any command. So I've used it there for the sort of who command, the who am I traveling with command, and the what's around here, the look command. Same response, say beep, beep, and then more. It tells you more. And as the game expands, and the intents multiply astronomically, because I can't seem to write a skill with less than 30 or 40 intents, but whatever. That can apply to those too. Okay, so that kind of informs your skill design, and it allows you to add stuff in later. You can react to user stuff. They're saying, I really don't care about the country. Why are you telling me this? It's nice, but maybe make it like the 7th in the list of things that I get. I really want to know, what's around me, or am I latitude, longitude, or what time of day it is, or okay, well, you can adjust your list. Listen, you get more to it, you can add more to it. This is one of the things in Star Lanes is I could continuously add features, okay, because my time spent on it was continuous. The trouble is that the audio interface had to go boom, 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 because it had to go through certification. So it became hard where I'd add a feature and I'd first put it on the web page so that people had some access to it and start putting it into the game mechanics or whatever, then finally get to the point where I'm going to go through the pain and toothache of a certification and then get the words in there. And also whenever I decided to go for certification, I tried to think of anything I might possibly put into it and get the audio model in place for it. Now, of course, then I had to stub out some sort of functionality, otherwise the team was like, when I say this, it says this is not implemented yet. That's not very good. It's like, and these things that we have to do like this. We're trying to come up with more generic ways, simplifies it for the user, and gives us the scope to expand upon stuff on that continuous basis. So, anyhow, that's one idea. Hopefully, if I hit more, I'll continue to showcase this is a skill in development, or responding to different users. Things I did kind of want to show Google Home because I did get the sort of linking in from it the other day. Let's just quickly go to the screen and see if I can persuade Google Home to talk to me. So we go to here. Let me just refresh and make sure it's all connected. So we're there. We're on. It was originally called Companions of the Road, but my agent decided to change it to 6 Swords, which I agree with in the end. But the code still says Companions. So we go to here and we hit Preview. That should enable it. And we can go to our little web simulator here. Let's do a big old refresh on that. And let's say talk to 6 Swords.
Sure, here's the test version of 6 Swords. Welcome to 6 Swords, Joe Jacquinta. Around you is hills.
Now that's new. This morning it didn't say test version, so they're doing continuous updates there. That's kind of cool. And I said who.
Your active companion is Giselle.
So
She currently has 6 hit points out of 6. Your other companions are Sheena, Gino, and Shauna.
Okay, so let's so it's there, it works. We'll leave recursion forever, but when I try it here, it's like, okay, Google, talk to 6 Swords.
Sorry, I don't understand.
I don't know what's up with that. I mean, this worked this morning, so maybe whatever they put in to make it a test skill. Okay, Google, talk to 6 Swords.
Sorry, I don't understand.
Yeah, I know what's going on. But again, they're constantly changing things, so it worked this morning. I wanted to show it. But anyhow, it's the same skill. It works the same. You can see it's actually the same identical user. That's hey. So, anyways, I shall wrap it up for now. The sort of too long didn't read for the video, too long didn't watch, whatever, would be lots of information, but we got to be terse, give them the minimum, and establish some way that they can ask for more information. It's like, oh, okay, that's great, but I need more detail. Let me dive down onto that. I have a little beep beep as an ear con, and I have more. Nice, thank you, more. You get more again, you get more, and you can just give more and more and more and more info until they're sated and move on to a different command like that. Try it out, see how it works. Let me know how you get on. You get other ideas for other, common user behaviors that we can introduce. I would love to hear them. Comments in the comments, send me an email, talk on Slack. I usually see whatever happens on Slack. when I'm sitting at work waiting for stuff to compile or build, whatever it takes like. Hey, look. Other than that, I'll leave you with this little animation that I did for 6 swords. And good night.